So the latest episode of That Time I Got Reincarnated as Slime, or Tensor, however you want to say it, Ramiris is the GOAT, my lord. We all knew that her power involved dealing with making labyrinths. We all knew that she would be able to create labyrinths, but the fact that she's able, like her skill name is called Small World, the fact that she could make worlds in the labyrinths, now that's to a whole new level. Like, one, she's making a refugee area where the people that were the refugees from the Beast area, that kind of like from Milim's area, and that kind of are living with Tempest at the moment, it's like they were all living on the surface, but then they just transferred them into the dungeon. And like Rimuru is saying, hey, this area is temperature controlled, it's never gonna rain, it's gonna be a comfortable area for them to live in and play, you know, do stuff however they want. And then she can make more levels. So I knew he was gonna have a big dungeon, but I didn't know he's gonna make 100 levels in the dungeon. And I'm like, dang, this is like Sword Art Online all over again. He's just making levels upon levels, and it's like, oh, you can make a level in an hour? Yeah, make me 100. It's just like, dang, this girl, all right, you know, I know you guys last week were saying in the comments, thank you for not spoiling, but you guys were saying that she has some power and she's actually pretty goated. I was like, okay, I expect as much. She's a demon lord, but I didn't realize that she's this goated to this degree. But if you made it this far, make sure you guys are liking the video. Make sure you guys are subscribed for more future videos. But I will say how this girl makes it to where as long as there's anything in her labyrinth, like she just kind of controls it all. Like imagine if there was an enemy that invaded Tempest, right? And they somehow lured that enemy into the labyrinth. Like she's just like, haha, now you're in my domain. And she just does whatever she likes. Now, granted, I bet you she has a lot more skills than they described in this episode. Because to be honest, this whole episode was pretty much her and their plans for the arena / labyrinth. The fact that they got the arena built in a month, that is amazing. Because even Rimuru was like, dang, you know, this world is way different than the real world. Yeah, we all know if you want to make a coliseum like that, it's going to take years in the real world. But, you know, in the fantasy world, oh, you want to make an arena here? Oh, okay, we got all these special power people working together. It's done in a month. It's just completely done. And it's in time for the festival. And I'm glad that last episode they specified how the labyrinth is not right under the arena, like how it's kind of next to it underground, because it makes a lot of sense. They broke down the whole labyrinth, pretty much all the levels and what they plan to do, and how we're going to have adventurers to get in there, how we're going to fill it up, stock it up with chests and treasures, and the cursed items. If I was Rimuru, I was straight up like, yeah, I'm going to absorb this, might need this in the future, who knows? Just all kinds of different things that's going to be in the labyrinth that, as somebody that's watched a lot of anime and a lot of, you know, dungeon anime, I'm glad that they addressed a lot of the different things, even addressing, hey, what if we have cheaters? And the whole rebirth system, they talked about a lot of things that I was like, thank you. No loopholes in any of this. We were so correct in saying that Veldora is going to be the final boss. I mean, come on, it just basically writes itself. You don't have a dungeon, and then you have Veldora over there saying, oh, I need to expel my magicals. He's got to be the final boss. He has to be. You know, all those adventurers are going to definitely want to go down there. And like I said, the advertising just writes itself. Just put posters up or word of mouth. Everyone's gonna, if they don't even assume that Veldora is the final boss, everyone knows that Veldora is within Tempest, within this area, but no one knows where he's at. So, hello, here comes, hey, we've made this labyrinth dungeon for you guys. I wonder who the final boss is gonna be. Yeah, Veldora. And then just word of mouth is definitely gonna spread. Because can you imagine Like, everyone is already thinking of Veldora as this esteemed evil, destruction. And then they're like, hey, do you want to fight him? Of course you do. You could fight him in our dungeon. Just gotta get to the 100th level. And of course they're like, yeah, sign me in. It's just gonna happen, just like that. But it's pretty cool that they are going to do the whole save system. Like every 10 levels, you're going to be able to save to go to the next level type deal. And then of course, the Rimuru's like, oh yeah, we'll make sure to have a very strong boss right before the save room. Makes sense. And you can really see Rimuru's thought process from his human side, from being from the human world, because he's like, yes, they're gonna have cheaters, let's make sure we fix that. Yes, let's make sure we have final, mini bosses and such to keep excitement going and rewards for excitement. And oh, let's make sure that we have, the importance of having save rooms so people won't feel like they have to start at level 1 and go all the way down to level 100. Let's have the whole dungeons be randomized at different intervals where we could just kind of like move the rooms around. And I mean, Rimuru did a really good job as far as thinking, not necessarily outside the box, but it's outside the box for the people that live in that fantasy world. But it's within the realm of possibilities for us, because, we play games, we've seen dungeon stuff, anime, and the fact that he even thought about, oh, what about traps? Why don't we have a room where basically there's no oxygen? Yeah, they just, die. And there's, of course, everyone's like, what is this thing you called oxygen? And so he's just dropping science knowledge on them from the, real world. But in this fantasy world, they are like, oh, we never really thought about it like that. Yeah, that's kind of cruel, isn't it? Nah, that's not that cruel. She's just able to make the traps. Like, oh yeah, no problem. Oh, you want these traps? Oh, in this dungeon? Okay, I got you. How come she hasn't, Ramiris, how come she hasn't thought about this before? Maybe it's because she doesn't have the resources like Rimuru. Like, even if she made an intricate labyrinth, she normally, I guess, is making labyrinths and stuff to live in, but she never really had the pool of resources from bosses and enemies like Veldora to make an attraction type of a labyrinth, other than, I guess, to like defend her own home in a way. I mean, I guess this is probably my knowledge of being like a human going to this world. If I had the ability to make dungeons and or labyrinths, I would have already been like, yeah, let's make it an attraction. Let's make some money. Because you gotta remember, Ramiris has been living for a very long time, but she keeps getting made fun of as the, not necessarily the weakest, but the one without a job, the one that's broke. Imagine living for thousands of years and you can never make money. Like, it's like being a vampire or something that's immortal in today's age, and somehow after living 1,000 years, you're still broke. It's like, after a while, it's like, that's on you. Now, to wrap things up, I am glad that Milim showed up, because I wondered, as they were explaining the whole labyrinth, I was like, okay, how does she get into this? What is the help that, she is able to provide for them? It comes into play when we actually learn the limits to Ramiris' power, because I too, like Rimuru, as I was reacting to it, watching the episode, I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, why don't we have themes? Why don't we have a level that has like an ice world? Why don't we have a desert world? Because, we already have a labyrinth. Let's not make it boring, right? It's like every few levels, there's a theme to this level, right before the save point, things like that. And I'm like, okay, all right, we're getting there. I'm thinking like Mario or something, like, we have a desert world, we have all this stuff. And it's like, okay, all right, let's go. And I was surprised that Rimuru brought it up. I'm like, oh, snap, okay, all right. Like I said, that's that human side of him. And then she's like, yeah, I can't do that. I'm like, oh, okay. All right, that's hey, that's fine. I mean, she's done so much, but okay. And then Milim's like, yeah, we're just, I'll just get dragons that have that aspect and then they can fill up the room. It's like, so that's what her plan is. That's how she's gonna incorporate herself into the dungeon world and come up and even show up in the season. So, Milim also brings a little fun to the season, even though like Rimuru tries to be serious at times and then Milim comes in here and just like, what are you doing? And we all know how powerful she is thanks to, I believe the previous season, her being controlled, if you will. Oh man. Overall, great episode, and great that they actually took the time to explain all the things that's going to happen into this dungeon, so that later, when we get when the episodes come out where they adventurers go into the dungeon, we're not sitting there like, oh, wait, isn't this a loophole, or isn't that a loophole, or how do they do this? How are they going to do that? Like, they pretty much addressed everything that they plan on doing, even the rebirth system. And that's another power that Ramiris has that's like, really? You can revive people? So I think this episode was actually really good as a good explanation. This whole episode, I never felt bored personally. And I felt like it was a lot of information coming about that Rimuru was over here trying to find stuff out. We learned about the arena being built in a month. We learned about in like maybe a week that this whole dungeon is being made thanks to her power. It's so much that it's actually showcasing, so then that way in the future episodes we don't have to worry about that. We kind of know. So man, I really am looking forward to the action of this arena being built up. And with the next episode called Audience, it makes me wonder if they're gonna have everything taken care of and more people are gonna finally show for this festival and in turn be the audience for the arena, and things are gonna start happening pretty soon. Tell me what you guys think in the comments down below, but I'm really excited, and you guys are right. Ramiris, she's got that power, and it helps the fact to have a demon lord in your pocket to, for defense and or to do different tricks like this. So when it comes to labyrinths and underground stuff, she's got that power. She's got it. I think Rimuru could do something sort of like this, but it'll take longer. Like, he could probably, with his powers, make a dungeon, but it would take way longer and not just be instant. Like, oh, this is what you're thinking? Okay, done, fixed. It would be a lot more manpower behind it. But regardless, to have a demon lord, to have a power like this, to literally create worlds underground, we're in overlord levels of stuff happening here. So it's pretty good, it's pretty good. But like I said, tell me what you guys think in the comments down below, but make sure you like the video, make sure you guys are subscribed, because this was a good one. And I'm looking forward to the future episodes for this season. You take care, be safe, Lord willing, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.